right, we're about to go live.
Welcome to Remove Logic Radio. Come on in, everybody. We are live again tonight on Remove Logic Radio. I am your host, Karen Ray Lacey. Welcome to Remove Logic Radio. Why remove logic? We are here to help people who are stuck by logic and logistics because God is not bound by logic or logistics. And so we are here, we're on Remove Logic Radio to help you get unstuck by breaking down some of the personal barriers and some of the things that we logically place upon ourselves. So, hey, welcome to Remove Logic Radio. Y'all come on in. Let's see. And we are live. Remove Logic Radio Show. I'm your host, Karen Ray Lacey. I'm excited for you to be here tonight to join me as we just connect and try to tear down some of the barriers we have personally. Um, as we, I was thinking earlier today about how we are almost at the end of the year. And this is, we want to go hard in the paint, so to speak, and just give yourself the push to finish strong as the end of the year comes. That you have some, maybe some things that you're working on, that you probably, I don't know about you, but I another day I'm tired. And sometimes when you're tired, you tend to lay down, procrastinate, lay some things down, push some things, move papers from one side of the desk to the other. But I just want to encourage you tonight to finish strong. Push yourself. Let's get over the procrastination and push ourselves to get to the end of the year and see what 2025 is going to bring. One of the words that I was thinking about earlier today is the word suddenly. And, you know, when you've been waiting on God to do things, maybe you forgot about it, or maybe you just toiling in the same position. Um, but when God does things suddenly, when He moves quickly and how He can do it so fast that it blows your mind. And I was looking at some scriptures for the word suddenly. And the book of Acts, it has many instances of suddenly. And suddenly there came from heaven a noise like a violent rushing in Acts 2. In Acts 2, Paul was approaching Damascus, and suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him, and he fell on the ground. And then, let's see, I'm sorry, that's Acts 9. And then suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared, and a light shone in the cell of Peter, struck Peter on the side, and woke and said, "Quick, get up." And so, what do you do when God does something so suddenly that blows your mind? I was looking at a video along these lines today, TikTok, and I just want to play um, this woman, bless her heart, God blew her mind, and she just kind of told the story of what she went through and how she was feeling while this whole process was going on. And so I just want to play a little bit of what she went through. So bear with me. Um, Hold on one second.
Something happened to me yesterday that I never saw coming.
And there was only one other time in my life when I felt like this, and that's when I got my divorce. I didn't see it coming. Yesterday I was in a training, and during the middle of the training, the principal of the school where I was doing the training at asked me if they can talk to me. And I'm thinking, what could I, all these things start going through my mind, like, what could I have done? We're at an autism spectrum disorder training. I'm learning how to set up my classroom for this new position that I'm getting at my school district that I'm in. What the heck? So all of these things just start going through my head, right? Like, what did I do wrong? What did I say wrong? You know? And so she takes me down the hall and she says, well, you know, I wanted to talk to you. I was like, yes. And she said, I want to know if you want to interview for a position at this school. I was like, what? She said, and if we do this interview, it has to be today. It has to be now. And I'm like, wait a minute, what do you mean? And she said, it has to be now, because if we interview you and we like you and we want to take you, then we have to have you to sign a contract today. Otherwise, the state of Illinois will suspend your license for 1 year. I'm like, wait, what is happening here? And I was like, wait, what do you mean they will suspend my license? They said, well, if you're going to take a position, then you have to take it 30 days before the first day of school start. Otherwise, if they will suspend your license if you try to do it after that time for 1 year, and you wouldn't be able to teach for 1 year. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. Okay. First of all, you know, can we talk about what the position is and whatever? She said, absolutely. Let's go. Let's do it now. I just pulled you out of this training. So we go into her office and she's telling me about the position and everything and what it entails. And it's working with the littles, kindergarten and first grade. And I'm just like, oh no, the littles, because the littles scare me. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay. And she goes through the position and they ask me literally like 30 questions. And normally you go in an interview prepared. You go in an interview knowing what the hell you're going to say and answer these questions. I was so unprepared and so it was like my head spinning. Then this assistant superintendent came in to interview me. And then from the assistant superintendent, it was the superintendent that came. And I just was like, I eventually broke down and started crying. I started crying. I didn't know what was happening. Like, at a point, I couldn't breathe, and I just started saying, okay. I had a moment. I am so normally poised and in control and understanding what's happening and where my life is going. I had no idea what was happening to me in that moment. Not one freaking AOL idea. But in that moment, I showed vulnerability. I showed that I was scared. I showed that what is happening, because I have been in my district for a total of 18 years. And a part of me didn't realize how traumatized I was from being in this district. You know, I go to work every day. I mind my business. I do my job. I work hard. When I tell you hard, I work sun up to sun down. Hard. I have a very well-known positive reputation in my district for me being tough, for me being loving, for me giving my all. It's just very positive. And it's like it all just came crashing down. And when they told me what my salary would be, I almost passed out. It would literally take me 8 years in this district, the district that my school district that I'm working in now, to get to where the salary is that they're offering me now. I don't know what people think, but teachers don't make a lot of money unless you've been doing it for years. So we talked literally from like 1:30 to 3:30, almost 4 o'clock. And during that time, we worked out a lot of things. And one of the things, this training that my job sent me to was like $3,500 to $4,000. And I said to them, I don't want that karma to come back on me. I don't want that karma to come back on me. They just paid this money, even though y'all are saying it's the nature of the business. I don't want that karma to bite me and come back on me. So they said, we will take care of it. So not only do I get a huge salary bump, but they are going to reimburse my district for the training that my district paid me on. So now I signed a contract to work in a new school district. I was so outdone. I was so, my head was spinning. It felt like the day my spouse came home and said they wanted a divorce, and I didn't see it coming, and I didn't know it was happening. And next thing you know, like 3 days later, I was served with the divorce papers. Next thing you know, I've never seen that person again, except for like I saw him this past Christmas at our holiday party, but whatever. That's the only time I felt like that. When you are a good person and you constantly do the right thing, I know it seems like it's never going to pay off, but I promise you it does, because somebody will eventually see your value and your worth. And that is exactly what happened to me yesterday. As we were doing the training, somebodies saw my values and my worth through my work in this training yesterday. And out of it came a whole new career path. God is good. Jesus is life.
Just that in itself, I mean, just her whole story and how they came and got her out of a training class, and her initial thought process was, what did I do? What did I say? What did I do wrong? And when God moves suddenly for us like that, it shakes you. That the way that she felt, just her and how expressed how that made her feel, for them to come and get her out of a training class, and then to have the immediacy of an interview, for her to get something that God had already prepared for her that she knew nothing about. And one of the things that was so to me was that she said the salary for that new position that she was getting, that it would take her 8 more years to make that salary that God suddenly gave her in one day, in one interview. And one of the other things that she said was that she was so unprepared. And when God does something for us, I know we are not prepared for it. He can blow our minds in an instant. And so the question to you, what do you do when God does something suddenly for you, when all of a sudden find yourself God suddenly, in a suddenly moment? And I was looking at that today. It was just so important, what God had given me to speak about tonight, just to consider those suddenly moments. And one of the things that she talked about was how she was presented, the came and got her, then all of a sudden she was being principal, then she was interviewed by the superintendent. And how when God shines his light on you, you're seen by people that you wouldn't have ever thought that you would have an audience and be in front of. Just the favor of God to come on you so suddenly. And she said that it was so overwhelming that she broke down, that she cried during the interview, because she was, first of all, unprepared. And that's a word there in itself, to be unprepared for something that God has just for you. And it's not that he's waiting on you to get prepared. He knows you're already prepared for it. So that was something that stuck out for me. She was already prepared and didn't even know she was prepared for it. But God allowed the person to see her that needed to see her, for her to have the position that was already her position. And they said, you have to interview today. Sometimes, just like Peter, it was like, get up and move quickly. You got to move quickly. Sometimes it's not a matter of it could be a matter of moments that can change your life, when you're in front of the right person at the right time. And God is saying suddenly to get up quickly. They told her that you need to interview for this today. And if you don't do it today, then your license will be suspended. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be in a situation where God is moving in a suddenly and I'm still taking my time. But it is about getting up and moving quickly. And one of the things that she said also is that there are people that will know your value and know your worth. There are people that already see, they're waiting on you to show up because your value and your worth was already established and determined by God. And so, again, the suddenly, when God does something so quickly that uh, it blew her mind, but she also maintained the integrity of the position that she was currently in before she moved to the new position. She spoke about the training that they pulled her out of. The cost of that training was $3,500 to 4,000, but she did not want to leave them in the lurch of sending her to training and then she take this new position. And so just because she was honorable enough to honor where she was coming from, they said that they would pay for her training. They would give that back to current job before she took this new position. And so, walking in integrity and honoring the moment and the people that God puts around you currently also impact how you're going to go forward. It's important that you honor the position that God currently has you in before you leave to go to another position. Even in her crying, she exposed her vulnerability. She said she's always poised, always together, but this moment right here just about took her out, and then she exposed her vulnerability in front of others. And so when God begins to move in our lives and do things suddenly, it shakes us. But it is a requirement for us to get up and move, like Ludacris say, when I move, you move just like that. Sometimes you got to move when God is moving, just like that. And she had to go ahead and get up and go for this interview, come out of training and go into another room for an interview. She wasn't prepared for the questions that they asked. She wasn't prepared for the moment. Mentally, emotionally, she was not prepared, but her skills were already there. God already had that person her and pull her out, and she was already prepared for the moment. Prepared for the moment, and that's a word in itself. When God says suddenly, when things happen suddenly, we are prepared for the moment if we just show up. She went to the training, but the training was the place where they were going to find her. The right people were going to see her in this training class and pull her out. So it is most often it's imperative that we are in position. We're in the right place at the right time to get that thing that God is doing suddenly for us. Again, in Acts, it says that suddenly an angel appeared. An angel of the Lord appeared, and a light shone in the cell. He struck Peter on the side and woke him up and said, "Quick, get up." And so I can only imagine where she's sitting in training, they come and pull her out. And she said her immediate thought was, what have I done? What have I done? Did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? But the scripture says when he told Peter to get up quick, get up, he said the chains fell off his wrist immediately. And her getting up going unlocked finances for her, finances that it would have taken her 8 years to get the salary that they gave her instantly that day. She got it. It would have taken her 8 years. She got it in one day, in one moment. Her life was changed financially. And so it's sometimes We have to push ourselves to move quickly to get in position for the position that God has already prepared for us, even feeling unprepared. And that's another logic instance where you have to just kind of lay aside where you feel like I'm unqualified. I don't have the answers to this, and I don't know. But if the door is open, you got to walk through it. You have to walk through it. I suggest to you that you are more prepared than you think you are, and logically, you can talk yourself out of some things. And so when you start to consider being prepared and how when God does something suddenly, it can take us outside of a comfort zone that we sit in, because he knows, like, okay, this has come to an end, and I'm getting ready to give you a new beginning. So her life was just changed, and I just love how she was even vulnerable enough to put it out on TikTok to express herself, and just allow you to have a view into what she was feeling in the moment. When God does things suddenly, um, as I said, it can be rather off-putting, and then you find yourself in some things where God is just saying, "Hey, I needed to come and get you, and because I need you to go over here. I need you to move in this direction because I have a blessing over here. I have some people that need you." She talked about, as a teacher, they a little bit more about the position, you that moment of suddenly it can move you into something that causes you to be uncomfortable and fearful at the same time. And I don't know about you. I always give my hat is I take my hat off to teachers and what teachers do, and what they go through. And I always thought, if I ever taught, I would want to teach the littles, as she said, because I figured that they probably would be less impactful than the middle school, the high school students. But she said it'll scare her, and even that in itself is laughable. How when God when God does move you into a place of suddenly, how it can change your life so quickly and move you to a place where you're like, man, God, my mind is blown. Salary increase, better position, around new people, new moments, and new opportunities, new beginnings. When God does something so quickly, it does blow your mind. It takes, but it also enhances, expands your expectation, where you probably are thinking that I need to work, like she said, I'm gonna have to work another 8 years just for this. And God said, no, you won't. No, you won't. I'm gonna give it to you today. And I don't know about you, but I'm looking for my suddenly. I'm looking for the moment where God just says, okay, here you go. I'm getting ready to restore you suddenly from something that maybe you've been struggling with, life, and you are still believing God for restoration, even if it was in the family. It could have been, a loss of a husband, a loss of a wife, but you're saying to yourself, "But God, I want to get back out there, and I want to share my life with someone else." And then you're saying to yourself, "Well, hey, is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? When am I going to meet that person?" But God has that suddenly moment where you'll meet that right person at the right time, and all of a sudden you in love all over again. It could be a loss of a job, a loss of income, or even wanting more income. Just a dream, maybe, of a house. As we are, in the season, hey, when they just the feds dropped the interest rates just the other day. I don't know about you, but that excited me because that releases a buying power. And that was a sudden thing, another sudden moment. So If there are some things that you've been thinking about, dreaming about, and wanting to do, don't give up, because your suddenly is on the way. It could very well be in this next moment. It could very well be tomorrow. But position yourself for that suddenly. Be prepared for it. Look for it. Expect it. Even though she went in and went to training, still, using her gift and her skills and her talent, she was not. She was found working. She was found busy. She was found doing the very thing that gave her, look, the for the people to see her. She was found working. It made me think of Ruth in the field. She was found working. When Boaz saw her, she was about her father's business. She was out there working, and then even while she was working, there was little handfuls on purpose. There were some things that he had said to leave her handfuls on purpose, and so, but the suddenly came when he decided that he was going to make her his wife. So, I just encourage you, and as you go forward for the end of the year, don't forget to look for those suddenly moments. It might be, as I said earlier, I'm tired. I am tired, but I'm still looking for my suddenly moments. I'm looking for those opportunities where God is going to blow my mind. Look, it's not over until He says it's over. And so it's important that you don't give up. It's important that you remember that God is still able, and have an expectation of that suddenly moment. Um, I was thinking about also in this video where just the favor of God, how His favor just can instantly change your life. Favor with the right person, favor in the right moment. If it's again, if you're trying to buy a house, the favor with that one bank that where others may have told you no, but God has got a yes for you. And so don't think that you may have been waiting for years, or waiting for months, weeks, or whatever. But that moment of favor, that one moment of God's favor where He will come in and send in His representative, and He's like, okay, that one over there, that's mine. And I need you to extend my favor to her today. And so I just want to encourage you tonight, as I was considering this word suddenly today, and how quick God can move. What do you do when God does something that blows your mind? How do you handle it? She said she broke down in front of the people and cried. How would you handle if God did a suddenly on you tonight, or even on tomorrow? What is it that you would do um, dealing with a suddenly? When He comes in and shows up and shows out, as we say. It's about moving quickly when He moves, getting yourself in position. I'm reminded of the scripture where the Israelites were led by a cloud by day and fire by night. And even if you have to get up and move in the night, if you got to move in the day, God is still leading you to that place of the suddenly, the place of restoration, and that place of, where it's more than enough. You might have been sitting in lack, but He's like, okay, but I got something else for you, and I'm going to move you over here. But it may require us to do something different. It may require us to move quickly, where you may decide, hey, I want to sit down a little while longer. I want to rest. And God is like, no, get up, move quickly. I need you to be over here by this hour, by this day, by this time, because I have someone waiting on you. Suddenly, when God moves us to the place of suddenly, it's amazing to me how He can change things for us so quickly. But we have to be ready to move. I was sharing with my son last night about how, we find ourselves here in Austin, but we are not here for nothing. We have to press to find that thing, that purpose. I said it's not coming to the door. It's not going to knock on your door. You have to put yourself out amongst people to get what it is that God has for you. Um, it's a lot of times when we do move, or we may sit, settle in comfort, and not move just because we're comfortable. And I was sharing with him, we may have to go, sometimes you have to go around people that are unfamiliar to get that thing that God has for you. And it's like I said, it's not going to be somebody that's going to come to your door. It may be joining groups. It may be setting yourself out there, um, letting people know what your skill sets are, letting people know, hey, I'm in the area, I'm new here, and say, this is what I do. What do you do? It may be some collaborations, it may be connections that you probably may not have thought of. But if you get outside of your comfort zone, if you move quickly, I was when I was talking to my son, he was like, "But I don't want to be distracted, and I don't want to not be doing, I don't want to be doing something that God doesn't want me to do." I said, "But doing nothing is also what God would not want you to do." And so, even while we're waiting for that suddenly moment, we got to be found doing something. She was found training, she was doing something, but it was a setup. And so, oftentimes, if we go and do whatever it is that God has set for us to do, the setups are there. If we pay attention, and don't overlook, and don't just cavalierly throw a moment to the side. That might be your moment. It might be your destiny moment. So don't just push it to the side thinking, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Putting off things, as I said, procrastination. And I am big on that. As much as I get a lot done, there are moments where I'm like, oh my God, I need to get moving, but I don't want to move. But putting it off may not be what you need to do in this season. It might be just necessary to keep moving and do something. I bought myself the other day a calendar just to write down some of the things, because I'm doing so much that I forget sometimes, and some deadlines and things fall on me. But I did buy myself a calendar to kind of help myself out so that I don't miss a deadline or miss an opportunity. I want to be doing something, and not doing nothing. I was sharing, as I said, with Devin about how it's important that we be found busy, and it may take you outside of what is comfortable, but it's important that you push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Um, I've joined groups and things here, gone to events, not knowing anybody in the room, but I still show up. And it has served me well to move like that. I've had some good moments and opportunities, and met some really interesting people. And just being away from my family at home has caused me, to move and navigate in a new place, to meet new people. And it's been fun. It's been challenging, but it's been fun. And so I'm looking for my suddenly, expecting my suddenly, but I'm positioning myself for those suddenly moments to take place in my life. If he wants to come and get me out of training, okay. If he wants to come and get me from the office and say, "Hey, I see you," if it's a restaurant, whatever, "Hey, I see you. What do you do? Tell me about what you do." I want to be ready when my suddenly comes, and I want to be in position when my suddenly comes. So I want to encourage you tonight. Look for your suddenly moments. Look for those opportunities where God may say, "You know what? Today I'm taking the chains off of you, and you just need to get up and move quickly. Today I am opening the door for you, and I just need you to go through that door quickly." It may be where God is saying, "Hey, I'm getting ready to restore you for something that you've been waiting on. And I need you to go across town and do this and meet this person. Don't be afraid to navigate, the waters of the unknown, because it's the unknown places where sometimes we'll find the best opportunities. So don't talk yourself out of it with logic, immediately thinking that I'm not equipped or I'm not skilled. I just would say to you, yes, you are. Because if you weren't, the moment would not prevail. It would not make itself available to you. So yes, you are. You are ready. You are equipped. And it's sudden when God does it suddenly. Sometimes it's like it feels like a dream. Like, Lord, is this real? Is this real? Is this you? And don't talk yourself out of it, but go through it. Just go through it. And sometimes we can be so comfortable. She said, I believe she said she had worked on her job for 18 years. And all of a sudden this came. And so you might be in a situation where you've been there 10, 15, 20 years. And all of a sudden it can change just like that, where God says, okay, come on up a little higher. I need you to go over here and I have this for you. So look for your suddenly moments. Don't just get in the rut of this is just the way it is. I say to you, no, that's not just the way it is. It could be different and it could be better. If God decides today that you deserve a suddenly, take your suddenly moment. Take that suddenly opportunity. And if that door opens suddenly, go through it. Don't be afraid to go through it. uh, See what's on the other side of the door when suddenly comes. Just be encouraged as you go forth. For like I said, the end of the year, we are in it. We're on our way to October, and the last quarter of the year we are here. And so just be encouraged and know that God has more for you before the December 31st 2024. If you go forth and just keep moving, keep going, and look for those suddenly moments. I believe God's favor, is extended to us at the end of the year. There are so many opportunities that we can take and make and turn some things around. As I said, you might be in a situation where you're just saying, Lord, when is it going to ever happen? When is it going to ever come? Don't forget to expect a suddenly moment. Get up and say, Lord, I'm looking for my suddenly today. What do you have for me today? It may not be very big, but it is a suddenly. It could be something small that's just gonna, catapult you onto your next thing. That contract, a new contract. It could be that. It could be a new connection with the right person. It could be if you're in school. It could be, hey, I passed that test. Now move me on to the next thing. So whatever it is, that suddenly moment where all of a sudden something kicks in you, where you feel like, you know what, I got this. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep moving because I know that God has more for me. I'm not going to give up on myself. I might be tired of waiting, but I'm going to work while I'm waiting. I'm going to be caught doing something while I'm waiting. Look for that. Look for that suddenly moment. What do you do when God does something to blow your mind? How are you going to handle it when God releases you suddenly? Are you going to find yourself prepared or unprepared? And even if you're not prepared, God has already prepared you for it. How about that? When God does something suddenly, He means for you to have just what He wanted you to have. It's not something that you might like. The promises of God are yes and amen. When He says yes, that yes is it reverberates in all areas of your life. It is not just for one thing, it is multifaceted. If He does it for you, increase you, then your family is blessed from that increase. So I just encourage you to not give up. Look for that suddenly moment. Expect a suddenly moment. As a matter of fact, I speak over you a suddenly, that God would do a suddenly for you. Um, Look, before the year is out. How about that? that you give yourself a suddenly and receive that God is going to do a suddenly for you before the year is out. Give yourself the suddenly that God has for you. I like when she also said, when you're a good person, the right people will see your value, and the right people will see your worth when you are a good person. When you may have felt like, you know what, I've been doing this, and I make sure that I treat everybody right, but Lord, when is my time coming? Don't give up on yourself. God is noticing you. He sees you. And so just don't think that, hey, you over here toiling for nothing and it's not gonna come to pass. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You have to believe that it is, but you have to also expect God to do just what He said, and whatever He has promised you to do, He is going to do. So don't give up on you. Keep your eyes solely fixed on what He's giving you to do, but don't give up and don't quit. The suddenly, look for your suddenly. Expect God to do just what He said He would do. Look, go unprepared, go afraid, go, just go. Like the angel told Peter, quick, get up. And I'm just saying it to you, quick, get up going, get up doing, get up believing. But don't get up quitting on yourself. God has a suddenly just for you, just for you. One thing that the in listening to that video back again on that, they told her it has to be now. It has to be now. She didn't say, hey, can this wait till tomorrow? She said, okay, give God a okay. Okay, it has to be now. If He's telling you it has to be now for your suddenly to manifest, say okay. Get up and go with it. It has to be now. That's a word for somebody. It has to be now. Get up and go with it. If you need to turn left, turn left. You need to go right, go right. But don't stop, because there's a suddenly coming for you. There is a suddenly coming. As I think about this passage of scripture, hold on, I want to read it to you guys. Look, when suddenly comes, suddenly. And that's what I'm believing, God, for you, that a suddenly is going to come suddenly. Let's see, Acts, hold on. Acts. And suddenly there a sound from heaven as a mighty, as a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And I say that to you and speak that over you, that a suddenly a sound from heaven is going to come like a rushing mighty wind, and it will fill your house. Look for a suddenly to hit your home. Look for a suddenly to come suddenly. Don't think that God has forgotten you, but expect God to do just what He said. And, look, accelerate. God will just accelerate things, accelerate your expectation, accelerate the moment, accelerate your time, where He'll do it quickly. Where she said, all of a sudden, my salary changed. I got an increase that would have taken me 8 years to get. Suddenly, that it can come just that fast and turn your life around just that quickly. What would have taken 8 years God will do it in one day. One day, suddenly. I'm believing God for you to receive a suddenly. Suddenly. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven as a rushing mighty wind, and it filled the house where they were sitting. That this suddenly will come and fill the house where you sitting. That God is going to do it just like that. I'm believing God for you tonight, that He is going to do it just like that. Don't give up, but look for your suddenly. Ask God, give me a suddenly, and watch and see, won't He do it? Watch and see what God does with giving you a suddenly. A suddenly. So this week, Remove Logic, you heard it from Pastor Karen. Hey, God is getting ready to give you a suddenly in your life, something that's going to come and change your life so quickly that your head is going to be spinning. I hope you come back and post on my page and let us know when God does that suddenly in your life and how you felt about it. What will you do when God does a suddenly for you? How will you, or how you going to feel? How you going to handle it when God does something to change your life quickly? When He gives you a suddenly, giving God for a suddenly for you. Thank you so much for coming to Remove Logic tonight and spending time with me. Really appreciate when you guys stop by. As I said, I'm going live. You'll see more live. We have our interviews coming, but I'm really pushing myself out here and do live. This is my suddenly moment. So um, I look forward to seeing you and visiting with you guys again next week on Remove Logic Radio. You can find me on Facebook at Remove Logic, REMOVE, capital LOGIC. Again, my name is Karen Ray Lacey. I'm your host of Remove Logic Radio. We're here every Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and I look forward to seeing you again. Next week, same time, same channel.